have the Ravens and Steelers. What's going on with the Ravens? So the Ravens were 3-1, had a chance to take a commanding lead for the division, with the Bengals struggling out of the gate this season. They were 1-3, had a tough game on the road versus the Arizona Cardinals, which could have gone either way if the Bengals that have played in September showed up to this month of October. And you really had a chance to be 4-1, and then the Bengals would have had a lot of catching up to do because you've already beat them so far this year. But then you go out versus the Steelers, kind of have your way with them on the defensive end where the Steelers aren't able to score. Nothing new there. But at the end of the game, all Lamar has to do is not turn the ball over. It makes no sense at all where if he just held the ball, threw the ball away, and you got a field goal, you're winning this game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a team that hasn't been able to move the ball up and down the field. And then this was a team searching for momentum, and they got some momentum with the safety. And then they started to rally a little bit, but you still don't trust them to drive the whole field. And then you throw an interception to a rookie when you're trying to force the ball to Odell Beckham Jr. And I was like, oh God, here we go again. And then we see a Ravens team where like, oh, they have Odell, Nelson Aguilar, Zay Flowers. And then Zay Flowers makes some of the dumbest plays I've ever seen, just slipping on routes, not being able to locate the ball. I counted 3 to 4 pretty bad errors that weren't Lamar's fault. They were on Zay Flowers. And then you have Odell Beckham Jr., who is injury prone. We don't really know who he is at this point in his NFL career. Definitely someone who's older and has been aloof the past few years. But he is someone who demands the ball. And then Lamar forces the ball to him, throws an interception. That's pretty much what lost them the game. And then Nelson Aguilar drops a catch that could have broken the game wide open, where Lamar hits him on the hands on a deep throw, and Nelson Aguilar flat out drops it, which has been his MO and has been who he is his entire career. So suddenly we have a Ravens offense that looks pretty good. We got some solid pieces to, oh God, what are we doing? We can't move the ball. We got 10 points versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, albeit this game was in Pittsburgh. But at the same time, you have to see that the Bengals were bleeding in the first month of the season. You have a chance to take a commanding 4-1 lead and then drop the Steelers down. But now the Steelers beat you. And the Steelers are a team that could get better as the games go on throughout the season, especially on offense. And they came on towards the end of the season last year, and George Pickens goes for 6 catches and 130 yards. He's starting to come into his own as a legitimate elite receiver in the NFL, where the Ravens offensively seem like they're starting to fall apart a little bit.
Yeah, for the Ravens, we made fun of the Bills a couple years ago when they lost to the Urban Meyer Jaguars. We hated it when we saw the Cowboys when they lost to the Cardinals this year. Like games that you look at and you're like, how did you lose this game? Now, it's the Steelers and it's a division rivalry, so it might not be to the same magnitude, but at the same time, your wide receivers dropped 8 passes. Zay Flowers, he missed about 4 plays, just completely misroute the ball. And then Lamar Jackson, right? Lamar Jackson, where most people anoint him as a top 5 quarterback, and he's in like our conversation for it, sure. But at the same time, 10 points at the same time, it's like you had not 1, but 2 opportunities to not only seal the game, but to win the game with the last 2 minutes of the game. You had a chance where, had you have not thrown it to Odell Beckham Jr. in the end zone, where Joey Porter makes a great play to get that interception, you get the ball again with a deficit. You could have driven down the field, kicked a field goal, brought it to overtime, or scored to win the game, which you're capable of doing. Instead, you fumble the ball, give it back to the Steelers.
Yeah.
And then they went ahead and sealed the game from there. But this was a completely disappointing game across the board for the Ravens. Their defense played great, don't get me wrong, but this is a game that is going to stain my reputation of the Ravens for the foreseeable future, at least until the end of the season.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about their defense. It's not about their coaching. For me, it's about their offense, because you know what to expect from Nelson Aguilar. That guy's got butterfingers, and he's had a reputation. He had a reputation in Philadelphia. He had the reputation in New England, Oakland, and especially now in Baltimore. It's a reputation that's held across the league. We know that about him. Odell, he's like in his early 30s, but he acts like he's in his 90s at this point. Zay Flowers, one week he looks like Tyreek Hill. The other week he looks like N'Keal Harry. We don't know what to expect from him. And then the running game, everyone's hurt at this point. They're relying on Justice Hill and then Lamar Jackson when he runs. But this offense, this is a team that you expect their offense to be better this year because it looks like on paper they have better weapons. But this was a complete whiff on their part. If I give them a grade just on this week, I give them a D. This game was completely disappointing. I can't fully expect the Ravens to be a world beater in the AFC when they have a game like this.
Yeah.
Like, this is a division. I understand the Steelers, and I understand you got TJ Watt going up against you, but you should have won this game. There is no excuses on why you couldn't have won this game. When you have Mark Andrews, you have Zay Flowers, you have Odell, you have Lamar Jackson, who's rushed for 1,000 yards. What happened? You should have won this game. You could have sealed this game. What happened here?
Yeah, you could have sealed this game. The problem is when you turn the ball over in the end zone and then you put yourself in a position versus the Steelers where you have to score